guys, welcome to my channel. I'm really excited you're here. If you're new, welcome, and if you're coming back, I love you guys so much. Today's video is going to be high-end DIYs, 2022 decor trends. You are going to love them, and it's also a collab with the Lisa's of YouTube. More on that later in the video. Let's get started. For this DIY, I'm going to use two signs from the Dollar Tree, this rectangular one and this kind of word bubble one. And then I am also going to use some of these really cool stickers from the Dollar Tree. They're like risen up a little, and I'm going to use those little corner pieces, so I had needed two batches of them to get all four corners. I'm going to remove the twine from this sign. I'm not going to be using it, but I will save it, of course. And then I'm going to remove the tags, and I'm also going to remove the little sawtooth hanger on the word bubble sign. Took a little heat gun to get that thing off. For some reason that was on there good, so I sanded it down just a little to get rid of all the stickiness. And I'm going to get rid of that little edge of the bubble sign. I just want it to be an oval, so I'm just going to take my utility knife and kind of score it many times, and then on both sides, and then I can just kind of bend it off and then clean up the edges with my utility knife and also sanding around there. It's super easy to do. Now I'm not going to take the word dreams off because I'm going to have that covered up. And now I just want to figure out how wide it is and how tall it is. I'm going to use my Rust-Oleum chalked linen white paint. But before I do that, I almost forgot. I'm going to fill in the little holes for the hanger because we won't need it. And now I will go ahead and paint it. And I did do two coats to make sure you couldn't see any of that brown. And then I went around the edges as well. I'm going to use my Waverly ink color, which is just black, and I'm just going to do around the edges of the rectangular from the back side because I'm going to put the oval in the middle and you won't see it. I'm going to lightly sand both pieces, and then I will hot glue the oval right over the center of the rectangle. Now again, I'm getting some measurements because I want to make a frame, but first I made a stencil using my Cricut of the world. You guys, I just love this so much. I'm placing the stencil down, and then I'm going to use 3 different paint colors and do an ombre effect. I'm going to use Ocean, Lagoon, and Pool from Waverly. I love this. I'm going to use a piece of tape to section off the area. So the top is going to be the darkest and it'll gradually get lighter. So that's the ocean color. I'm using a makeup sponge just to dab it on. I'm going to take that off. I have to be super careful because there's parts of the world that are really narrow there. And I'm going to apply another piece of tape, and I'm going to do the middle color. It was Lagoon. Then I'm going to take a wet paintbrush. I'm going to use my mister to get it wet, and I'm going to kind of smudge up the line between the two. Then I will take off the bottom piece of tape, and I will use the pool color chalk paint for the very bottom. And again, just dabbing it on. I don't want it to bleed. The stencil's adhesive, but it could still bleed if you're not careful. And again, I'm going to use a wet paintbrush and blur the line between, and that creates the ombre. I absolutely love this look. It's so cool. Now I'm just going to pull off the stencil very carefully, and look at that. Oh, it looks so good. It's exactly what I wanted. I'm going to take my white paint and just touch up any little speckles or spots that I got, and I'm going to use my heat tool to dry it. So I'm going to be putting another decal over the top. I use my Cricut to make, oh, the places you'll go. I just love that saying. You know, I think that's Dr. Seuss, and I'm just going to put that over the map. Unfortunately, it did take off a little bit of my paint, but I will go back in and touch that back up. No problem. Oh my gosh, I love this so much. I'm a big traveler. It's my favorite hobby, actually before crafting even. And now I'm just doing my touch-up. I got some scrap wood at Lowe's for free. I cut them into pieces that would fit around the rectangle, which you know I measured that already. I'm going to use some Waverly Antique Wax. And I do spray a little bit of water on the wood to make this glide a little better. And that way I don't have to worry about it going right into the wood super deep. So I'm just going to do all sides of the wood. And there I am, kind of positioning it, dry fitting it to see how it's going to look. Then I'm going to take some hot glue and I'm going to put the two sides on first. And then I will attach the bottom and the top pieces. Now there are some gaps because of the way I cut it, but I wanted that on purpose, and you'll see why in just a minute. So So now I've got this greenery that I got on Amazon. It's in my Amazon store. I believe this is the eucalyptus. And I just cut up some little pieces of that pick, and because there's a gap there, I'm going to use it almost like a little garden window type thing. So I'm going to hot glue those pieces after I'll kind of dry fit them first and see what I like, and then hot glue them in. I'm going to put some craft paper on the back because one, there's that ugly sign there. Two, I hate to leave my things unfinished. And then I put those little stickers on the corners, and then I found this other cute one that says Explorers, and I put that one right between where the two pieces of greenery meet in the middle. And you guys, I love this one. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to put it up in my house. I really, really love it. I hope you do too. And it's on trend with this travel inspired piece for 2022, so that makes me feel like I'm with the times here. I am so excited about today's video. It's a collab with the Lisas of YouTube. For our on-trend DIYs, I'll be bringing you travel-inspired and leather. Lisa Kennedy Dollar Mom is going to bring brown textures and mixed media. Lisa Voicey from Lisa & Company is going to bring graffiti and outdoors in. And Lisa Birmingham is going to do something old, something new. All 2022 on-trend designs. Can't wait for you to see them. And there will be a playlist down in my description box below. If you are coming over from one of the other channels, welcome. It is so great to meet you, and I really appreciate you watching my video, and I hope you will subscribe to see more in the future. This travel-inspired DIY, I'm using this family sign from the Dollar Tree and this piece of scrapbook paper that I got from Walmart in a really cool book of paper. And I'm going to take this sign apart. Actually, it comes apart very easily. I'm not cutting it. I just am using the blade because it's narrow and it'll get between the pieces. But it just comes right off when you put any pressure. Just be careful so you don't break it. And I'll save that family piece for another project. And then I have this amazing staple remover that I got at Amazon. It's in my store. I learned about it from Jazz at DIY Home and Craft. If you don't know her, I'll put her link down below. She has an awesome channel. I'm just able to take those staples out pretty easy. I'm going to take the piece that was in the back because it's the exact size I want. I'm going to figure out where on the scrapbook paper I would like it. And then I'm going to take a pencil and trace around it. And then I will just use my paper cutter and go ahead and cut that out. I'm going to sand any of the places where there were staples. And then I'm going to use a glue stick from the Dollar Tree, which was very old apparently and mushy. So there you go. And I'm just going to put it out in sections. And then I opened up a new one and it was working much better. And that does stick perfectly, by the way. I would do that any chance I could, using my brayer to flatten it out. Now I'm going to get rid of any excess, which I had barely any because I measured pretty good, but I'm going to use a nail file and just go in a downward motion around the edges. And then I'm going to sand all the pieces that were the frame before and paint them all with my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. Then over that paint, I'm going to use the antique wax from Waverly and create a faux wood look. It was MDF and it definitely did not look like wood grain. Now it does. And I also put some on the edges because in case you see them. I used my Cricut and I cut out a latitude and longitude of where my husband and I met, which happened to be at our church in Minnesota, and also we got married there. So this is a travel-inspired piece, but it also has a really cool meaning because it's the exact coordinates of where we met, and I love this. We could have met anywhere in the world, but that's where we met, and I just think this is the coolest. Now I'm going to hot glue on the pieces that are the frame. Then I tried to brad nail them. Now I'm really new with my brad nailer and I'm not good at figuring out where it's gonna go in when I put it there. So I messed up the frame a little, so I came up with a solution, which I will show you in a minute. I was really bummed that I did this, but I did figure out a way to fix it. So you see how it's all warped where I did that? Oh, I'm so mad, and all the holes in the back. But I'm going to take my antique wax and I'm going to touch up where the mess is. I'm going to use this faux leather ribbon from Dollar Tree and put little pieces around the ends and over the corners. And then I'm going to take my rope from Walmart and I'm going to go all the way on the inside of the frame. And you know what, you guys, that really covered up all the mistakes I made with the brad nailer, and so I'm much happier with how this looks. Then I have these really cool furniture tacks that I got on Amazon. I'm going to snip off the ends because they're really too long to fit in here. So I've got these little snips. I end up using a bigger one because it's really hard to squeeze those off. And then I made little teeny holes with something else that I have that's pointy, and then I hot glued and hammered in. There's only a little piece sticking out, but really it's just for show. So that's all. And there's two on every corner. Absolutely in love with this piece. I added a sawtooth hanger on the back. Just think of all the possibilities you could do with the coordinates. That is it for this one. again, if you're not subscribed, but if you want to, it's free. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and definitely please hit the like button because that helps YouTube know that more people should see my videos. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. This leather inspired DIY, I am going to make a pillow cover. I've got this old pillow, had some better days, and I'm going to use this faux leather from burlapfabric.com. And I'll have a link down in the description box. Got this fabric at Walmart, and it's just a fat quarter. They come like that. I'm gonna use my Beacon fabric tack glue to make the seams rather than sewing. You of course can sew this. You can use hot glue. I just decided to use the fabric tack glue because I know it's really good for this. And I just folded the piece over on both sides and left a spot where I'm gonna put the faux leather. It's gonna be like a stripe down the middle of the pillow. I love this fabric. It's so pretty, and it matches perfect with the gray faux leather. The right side is on the inside, and then I folded the two sides over, and there'll be a seam on each end of both sides. And now I've got my piece of faux leather that I cut. It's a little larger than what I need, but I wanted to make sure I had enough to work with. And I'm just going to fold so that the right sides can be together for this piece, and I'm going to attach it right against that piece of fabric where I have that opening. I'm not using a pattern for this. I basically used my pillow to figure out how much I would need. So I laid the fabric around my pillow and kind of measured it from there. It's super easy. You don't have to have exact measurements. I'm going to cut my piece of faux leather down to size because now I know more what size I need it to be. And now I'm just going to turn this right side out. I'm going to be careful to make sure that I push the points of the corners through. So I kind of pull it through and then take my finger and push in from the other side to make sure. And if you had any issues, you could take something that's not too sharp and just kind of put it in there and push it out. I'm making a pillow that isn't a pocket pillow. This is like a permanent cover on this one. And once I have this thing completely right side out, I'm going to insert my pillow, and then I will seal up the middle with a combination of hot glue and fabric tack glue. You always want to make your pillow cover a little bit smaller than the pillow, and that way it'll fit nice and firm and you won't have excess fabric. There's nothing like a pillow with excess fabric on the cover. It just never looks right. Better to squish the pillow in. Now I'm going to attach both sides of that faux leather to the inside of the fabric using the hot glue and the Beacon fabric tack glue. And the reason I have to use the hot glue is because I'm squishing the pillow in, I need something to make it hold immediately. The Beacon fabric tack glue will be for the long term, and then the hot glue will keep it there right now while we're waiting for the other one to dry. It's just ironic that the pillow on the inside matches as well, but that's not really intentional, except for that I probably just like these colors. This is such an easy thing to do, and what a nice way to spruce up your home by making pillow covers. You never need to buy new pillows. You could just make new pillow covers. So economical, and fabric is so easy to get, like at Walmart. Those fat quarters are so inexpensive, and then I have so much of this faux leather, and it just makes it really nice to add as an accent. And with leather being an on-trend decor style for 2022, that just makes it even better. So now we got the pillow pretty much sealed up. You have to tell me what you think, and would you consider making your own pillow covers? I've done it a few times and I really like it. You know, once in a while I will buy one because it's something very specific that maybe I don't want to make. But the rest of the time, this is the way to go. I hope you like it. My on-trend leather-inspired DIY, I wanted to make this little functional leather charger roll-up that I saw on Pinterest. It was actually $39 on sale for $24.99, and I have this faux leather. I know I can do this for way less. This is the faux leather I'm going to use. I got this from burlapfabric.com. I'll put a link down in my description box because it's really nice. And I'm just going to take out my square and do some measurements. I just know I have more than enough. I just didn't know how much to pull off. So anyway, you could make this as big or small as you like. Here are the measurements that I used for mine, and you can adjust yours to make it any size you want. Feel free to take a screenshot so you can have these. There are the two rectangular shapes that I made, and now I'm just using my rotary cutter on my mat to get them to be the exact same size. Because it's faux leather, it doesn't have that nice backside, so I'm just going to put two pieces together. I'm going to use the Beacon fabric tack glue to do that. I would have liked to have used that glue for everything. My impatience made that impossible, so I started using hot glue. I do not recommend hot glue for this because then you get all those little glue bumps. I wish I hadn't done it, but again, I did. And so if you just had the patience and you clamp it, that fabric tack glue would be the ideal thing to use for this. So I'm taking this piece that I cut for a pocket, And I'm just folding down the two sides, and then I'm going to attach those two sides directly to the larger rectangular piece, and that's going to be that side pocket, the larger one that you saw in the picture. I'll insert that right now so you can see it. I will attach that to the very bottom with a combination of Beacon Fabric Tat and hot glue, and I'm just going to go around all three sides, leaving the one side open. And there's my pocket. Next, I'm going to take this longer thin piece and cut it in half to create two pockets just like the picture above, and then I will attach those to the longer side of the rectangle. And I'm going to attach those the exact same way with the Beacon Fabric Tat glue and some hot glue. And I'll do three sides and leaving the top part open as the little pockets. Next, I'm going to take a 20-inch piece of the faux leather at 3/4 of an inch wide, and I'm gonna hot glue down each side into the middle and then fold that in half and glue that together. Again, I learned something with this. I should have just folded it kind of in thirds. I think it would have laid better. Anyway, if I just had a nice piece of leather rope, whatever, I probably should have just used that. Live and learn, right? Just tried to do what the one in the picture had. Now that this rope is done, I need to make holes to put it in. This is my crocodile. It's made by Memory Keepers, and it makes holes in things so easily. And there's two sides, a bigger and smaller hole, and then there's something for like grommets and things like that. But on the sides there, the hole punch, and that's what I'm doing, just making those holes, and it goes through everything. This is also a really good tool for people who have arthritis or are getting it. It's in my Amazon store if you need one. Now I'm going to feed that little faux leather rope that I created through, and then that's what's going to make it possible to roll this up and tie it. So I'm going to go at the bottom and roll forward, and then take the two pieces and wrap them opposite directions until they come back around, and then just tie a simple half knot, and that's it. And when you want to put your chargers in there, or you could use it for something else. Now I wanted to put my initials on there, so I got these three little alphabet stamps, LMS. There you can see what it's going to look like. It doesn't show up really good on the camera, but I did put it on there, and I just thought that was super fun to add that on. Let me know what you think of this functional DIY. And now for one last look at all four of my on-trend for 2022 DIYs. There are 2 travel inspired and 3 that have the leather, and I just love them. I hope you guys like them too, and don't forget to check out the playlist down below. Thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate it, and you are a blessing to me. I've got a couple videos right here on the screen that I think you'll really like. You click on them, then add them to watch later, and come back and watch the playlist. I know you're gonna love all of the 2022 on-trend DIYs that my friends have made. Can't wait to see you next time. Bye.